to interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Bam. Hey, what's up, and welcome back to Pondering Pilots, a brand new series on my channel that I've been wanting to do for a little bit now, and the idea is simple. Instead of movies, I'll be talking about TV shows, but unlike everybody else that just reviews and rates an entire season of a TV show, I'll be only looking at one episode, the pilot, and I'll be deciding if the show is worth a watch from there. Is the pilot one that takes flight or takes the plunge? Now, you might be saying, well, Dave, that's not exactly fair. Plenty of TV shows don't have the best pilot, but they get better over time. And I absolutely agree with you. There's even been shows that I disliked an entire season of, but ended up enjoying further seasons. But I'd also argue that most people don't work like that. They instead work off of first impressions, and first impressions alone. That can sometimes make or break an entire show for them. So that's what Pondering Pilots is all about. First impressions, and this first video is going to be something relatively easy but different than what I would normally do, just to kind of test the waters. Today we're talking about the upcoming game show Jason Biggs' Cash at Your Door.
Hi, it's me, Jason Biggs.
I've got 25 grand. That's all yours if you can answer some trivia questions.
So the concept of Cash at Your Door is pretty simple. Jason Biggs goes to unsuspecting homes and brings a game show to them. He asks them a bunch of trivia questions, and if they get through it all, they can win up to $25,000. Now, some people know this about me, but most probably don't. I'm a pretty big fan of game shows. I watch a lot of film and dramatic television that sometimes I gotta sit down, relax, shut off my brain, and just have a good time watching a game show. For me, the best game shows out there, at least in some form or fashion, let the audience at home play along. Think about Jeopardy! If you're smart enough, you might be able to yell out the question before it's revealed. Or Wheel of Fortune, you might be able to say the phrase first. Family Feud, Match Game, To Tell the Truth, Cash Cab. All these are examples of game shows that you can enjoy at home while feeling special because you might know the answer. The same can be said about Cash at Your Door, which is made by the same people of Cash Cab. And you can tell. It's structured almost identically to Cash Cab, from the point system to the trivia questions themselves, to the strikes, to even the lifelines that people can get. It's all incredibly similar. I'd even argue that Jason Biggs has a similar charismatic personality to Ben Bailey in Cash Cab. If you like one, you'll most likely enjoy the other. What I think is great about this show is that it's actually pretty relevant for 2021. After going through and still going through COVID-19, we're used to the idea that we have to stay indoors at all time, especially if we have a family, that all the fun, exciting things happen outside. So the home setting is incredibly relatable, and they bring the fun to that setting, and I think that's pretty cool. What sets this game show apart from other generic trivia shows, other than the house setting, is one question in particular, and I love it. Jason Biggs tours these families' homes, and he picks something out in them to ask them about as a trivia question. Like in the first episode, one of the families has inspirational words on their wall, and his special home question for them was, without looking, what do those 4 words on the wall say? And you might be surprised how difficult that can sometimes be for a family that sees it every single day, and they don't think about it. One thing I initially did was I asked myself how they were drawing names out of a hat, because they would knock on all these doors and the film crew would already know who they were, names and all. So I sometimes questioned the validity or authenticity of it actually being a surprise. But the way that I understand it is that all of these people applied to be on TV, but they were applying for a different reason. They were applying to basically show off their house, and they were not expecting a game show. And lo and behold. Jason Biggs, I've only ever seen in TV and movies, and so I was curious on how he would work out as a game show host. And I think he's terrific. Very charismatic and funny, and again, he gives off the same basic vibe as Ben Bailey has. I had to laugh a few times as well with the first episode because one of the families mistook him for Freddie Prinze Jr. And his face, oh my god, I'm dead. Biggest thing, a lot of game shows, regardless on what they are very produced, very showy, big audience-attended extravaganzas. But these really small, contained game shows are kind of cool too, because they just seem more authentic and real, and more in line with something a regular Joe Schmo can take part in. Cash Cab was the same way. In general, that was one of the first game shows ever that got me into the game show world, and it was because it was so contained and had that Joe Schmo vibe. Again, Cash at Your Door has that same feeling. I don't know how long it can stay on air though, because I feel like it's a lot easier to pick somebody up in a cab in New York City than it is to secretly find homes to film game shows in. But I mean, I could be wrong, I don't know. Overall, I definitely enjoyed it. I think it's a pilot that took flight. If I had to score it, I'd probably give it something around 8.6 out of 10. One thing I didn't see from the first episode that I wanted to see was the actual lifeline that people can get, and they're allowed to ask their neighbor for help, which sounds pretty cool, but I was never able to see that. But yeah, guys, what about you? Are you looking forward to checking out this brand new game show when it airs on E! On August 31st? Let me know, and as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert, he is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie.